August 16, 1977. The gates of Graceland were still, the air heavy, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Inside, a legend stood at the edge of eternity, tired, fragile, yet still carrying the voice that had once shaken the world. Just hours before silence would claim him forever, he sat at the piano and began to sing Unchained Melody. It wasn't just a song. It was something deeper. A farewell? A confession? Or perhaps a final echo of a soul that knew its time had come. What really happened in those last hours? And what did that song truly mean? By the summer of 1977, the man the world knew as the King was no longer the unstoppable force of the past. Fame had taken its toll, carving lines into his face and slowing the energy that once electrified entire arenas. Yet despite the exhaustion, there remained something undeniable in aura that refused to fade. Graceland had become both sanctuary and prison. Behind its walls, he was protected from the noise of the outside world, but also isolated from it. The laughter, the crowds, the roaring applause, they had been replaced by quiet hallways and late-night reflections. Those closest to him could sense the change. He wasn't just tired physically. There was a deeper fatigue, something emotional, something spiritual. That night, the mood was different. There was no grand stage, no spotlight, only a piano and a handful of witnesses. It was intimate in a way that few had ever seen before. And perhaps that's what made it so powerful, because when he sang, it wasn't for millions. It was personal, and that changes everything. Unchained Melody wasn't just another song in his repertoire. It carried a longing, a yearning that seemed to mirror something inside him. The lyrics spoke of time, distance, and a desperate need to reconnect, to return to something lost. As he sat at the piano, there was no rush. Every note felt deliberate. Every word carried weight. His voice, though no longer perfect, was filled with raw emotion, perhaps more than ever before. Those present would later recall how different it felt. This wasn't performance. This was expression. There was vulnerability in his delivery, a kind of honesty that can't be rehearsed or staged. It's as if, in that moment, the song wasn't his choice. It chose him. And maybe, just maybe, he knew exactly why. Among those who witnessed that moment was Ginger Alden. She would later describe the night not as dramatic or theatrical, but strangely calm, almost surreal. There was no sense of panic, no visible sign that history was about to mark its most heartbreaking page. Yet something lingered. Have you ever been in a moment that feels ordinary, but later becomes unforgettable? That's what this was. She watched him sing. Perhaps without realizing, she was witnessing something that would be replayed, analyzed, and remembered for generations. In her eyes, he wasn't a global icon in that moment. He was simply a man, someone she loved, someone human. And that may be the most powerful detail of all, because legends are often remembered for their greatness. But it's their humanity that stays with us. Time has a strange way of moving differently in moments that matter. That night, the hours slipped by quietly. No one could have predicted how close the end truly was. When he finished singing, there was no dramatic ending. No applause. Just silence. And sometimes, silence says more than anything else. What was he thinking in those final hours? Was there a sense of peace? Regret? Acceptance? We'll never truly know. But what we do know is this: his final performance wasn't on a stage in front of thousands. It was in a private room, stripped of illusion, where only the music remained. And maybe that's exactly how it was meant to be. Not as a spectacle, but as a truth. The next day, the world would wake up to shocking news. A voice that had defined generations was gone. Headlines would spread across continents. Fans would gather in disbelief, and music would suddenly feel different. But that final performance, those quiet, Intimate moments would take on a life of their own. People would listen to Unchained Melody differently after that. The lyrics would hit harder. The emotion would feel deeper. It was no longer just a song. It had become a memory, a symbol, a goodbye that no one realized they were hearing at the time. And isn't that how life often works? We don't always recognize the final moments while we're living them. Only after they've passed due, we understand their weight. That performance became more than history. It became a question. What would you say? If you knew it was your last song? Some moments don't need a stage to become legendary. Sometimes all it takes is a voice, a song, and a moment suspended in time. Do you think you knew it was the end? Or was it just another night that became unforgettable? Tell me in the comments, what do you feel when you listen to that final performance?